Let's give you a look at what we found out here today. This was a stick that was put into the water right down by Gulf Islands National Seashore in a bird habitat area down there. And as you can see, covered in oil, but it's not just limited to that area. We're just east of there, and all of this kind of oil, tarry substance has been washing up along this beach all morning. They've also issued a search warrant for a search of Nodine's vehicle, his county-owned vehicle that was seen leaving the subdivision around the same time gunshots were fired around 8 o'clock Sunday night.
So, Greg, I know you just drew the short straw on this assignment. You just hate it out there.
Oh, yeah, I do. You know, music festivals really aren't my thing, Molly. No, I'd much rather be listening to the North Mississippi All-Stars than talking to you right now, but I guess, you got to do the job, too, sometimes. But, just about everyone I talked to out here today had the same awestruck reaction to this festival setup and look as I did. Everybody just blown away by what they're doing out here. A couple of former New York firefighters who now live in the area are here to see Mayor Giuliani. In fact, that's why he's here today at the Gulf Breeze Firehouse. We'll get to that in a little bit. Our sources say those who have already voiced their concerns to supervisors in both of the companies have been fired or they've been let go for other reasons. Some new statistics out today show 90% of people are not prepared for a storm. As J.C. Birch reports, folks at the National Hurricane Center are warning you'd better get ready. Now, starting tomorrow, buying those storm supplies will be a little less expensive. Florida's sales tax holiday runs June 1st through the 12th. It's the third year the state has offered the savings. Some of the tax-free items include flashlights, portable radios, tarps, gas containers, batteries, and more. Alabama's legislature has yet to approve a sales tax holiday for this year. New tonight at 5, bracing for the state's property tax reform, the city of Pensacola releases a list of possible cuts in service. In a worst-case scenario, the city projects $7.7 million in cuts, including 24% of the fire department's total budget and 9% of the police department's total budget. The proposal includes closing down Fire Station Number 2, located on Davis Highway. That would result in the elimination of 18 firefighter positions.
And if you close this station, nearly 7 minutes.
The City Parks and Recreation Department is also looking at a potential 9% cut. Coming up tonight at 6, I'll have a full report on this story, including what specific cuts the police department may face. Flames are growing and smoke is rising. Coming up later on Channel 3 News, residents gather up their livestock and head for safety as another wildfire breaks out in South Florida. Bob, when I first got out here this morning, a woman named Billy DeBellevue walked up to me, handed me this piece of driftwood covered in oil, and then fought back tears as she told me exactly where she found it. A large portion of Gulf Islands National Seashore is set aside for wildlife habitat, and it's where Billy DeBellevue went first when she heard oil was washing ashore.
As I was walking in the National Seashore where all the birds are nesting, I saw it, and when you first see it, it's hard to believe it's there.
Billy says she started crying when she shoved this piece of driftwood into the sand there to bring it out covered in oil.
What's going to happen, when people get sick and wildlife starts dying? Who's going to be accountable for it?
Health concerns were also foremost on the mind of this group of friends who drove here from Minnesota.
Kind of, now that I actually see the oil, I'm wondering if it could affect us in any way, like if you swallow water, what could happen?
It's probably more of an aesthetic problem than it is a health problem at the moment. But again, people should avoid contact with the material if they can.
But UWF biologist Dr. Richard Snyder says it is really too early to know just how harmful the water might be. One thing he is sure of is that this isn't the last we'll see of this substance on Pensacola Beach.
It's also material that's already sunk to the bottom and is on the bottom and will be rolling in and washing in for probably years. We'll be seeing little bits of tar washing up for a long, long time, I'm afraid.
And cleanup crews have been out here all day. In fact, they're still out here, as you can see, picking up whatever tar balls that they can find. They've actually done a pretty good job of cleaning up this area. However, you can see that there's still a stain of brown film on this sand from where the tar washed in earlier this morning. Reporting live on Pensacola Beach, Greg Neumann, Channel 3 News. I'm standing in front of a pass which connects the Gulf of Mexico to Little Lagoon here. Booms were put out to try to prevent the water from flowing in once the oil slick arrives, but as you can see, it's really doing no good. The water is coming right up over that boom. But the Alabama Department of Transportation is not wasting any time. They're moving right on to Plan B, constructing a wall of sand to completely fill this pass to try to keep the oil out.
So we come down 5 or 6 times a year and just for the beaches.
And when Jack and Paulette Cuddy heard the oil slick was heading towards Gulf Shores, they made a special trip down from their home in Montgomery to find this.
We saw the equipment down here, and we knew they were going to try to do something.
Boom be ineffective here. Current's too strong, tide rips through here too fast. No way you could stop it with a boom, so it's just going to have to be plugged.
Crowder Gulf is the company tasked with plugging this pass, and they plan on doing it by packing sand to 4 feet above the high tide line.
The average water depth in here is 5 foot or less, so because of the depth of the water and the width, is probably the most effective way to block this.
It's been made a priority because there is a lot worth protecting in Little Lagoon, including the Bon Secours Wildlife Refuge.
Lagoons also got a lot of subaquatic vegetation. The subaquatic vegetation, of course, is breeding ground for shrimp, crabs, shellfish, a lot of flounder and other fish in here.
I'm glad that someone has made a decision to go ahead and spend the money in advance rather than spend lots of money afterwards.
The biggest concern right now is the weather forecast. Severe storms tonight, along with a coastal flood warning, could really test what they're trying to do right here. Crews will be monitoring it throughout the night into Monday morning. Reporting in Gulf Shores, Greg Neumann, Channel 3 News. Sue, Mitt Romney and John McCain are deadlocked in the battle for this pivotal state, and Romney went right after the Arizona senator this afternoon.
I guess Senator McCain didn't think as positively of that debate as last night as I did.
Mitt Romney's mission today was clear,
so
to
he's
paint
had to
himself
come
as
back
the Washington outsider who can fix the nation's struggling economy, and paint John McCain as a career politician who can't think outside of the Washington box.
If you think we need more politicians going to Washington, just changing chairs around, then you can vote for Senator McCain. If you think instead we need somebody who knows how America works, then you can send me.
The majority of supporters at the rally told us it was Romney's 25 years of business world experience they liked the most.
That's what it's all about. If the economy's bad, everything else will fall apart.
While economics was the major push of Romney's speech, he also played up his role as the party's only true conservative who still has a chance to win.
Another way to strengthen families, by the way, is to make sure we tell our kids before they grow up that before they have children, they ought to get married. That marriage comes first.
That message was likely targeted to Northwest Florida's large Republican base of evangelical Christians. But can Romney, as a Mormon, persuade enough of those voters? One undecided evangelical isn't so sure he can win those votes away from his rival.
Well, that's a toss-up. I really think that the evangelicals would go with McCain first.
But others are confident he can get enough to win in Florida and elsewhere.
I started thinking, what are his chances against Clinton or Obama? You know, maybe am I thinking too far ahead?
Well, we'll certainly have a better idea on that after next Tuesday. If Romney should win, he would be the first Republican to have victories in 3 states. Bob?